Well, thank you for having all of us here. I would say that just to start it off, Creighton, being here at Creighton and also being with ICANN is a really good combination right now because I think one of the fundamentals in creating great leaders is the pursuit of information. And one of the reasons that I'm here is I wanted to talk to you a little bit about journalism and local journalism specifically, and maybe a few little stories in 7 minutes or maybe 6 minutes and 45 seconds. So I became the general manager of KETV in November, actually right before Thanksgiving of 2011. And in that moment, I was also told that we were going to have to move, and we'd have to find a new home. So the first thing you do whenever you figure that out is you got to figure out, well, if we're going to build a home, who are we building it for, right? I had been at KETV about a year and a half, and I knew a lot of people there, but I didn't know everyone. And so you really begin to look around and say, who are these people? What drives them? What's so meaningful to them, right? Why are 20% of the KETV employees here after 20 years? This year we have anchors that have been there. On my 10 p.m. anchor team has been there 25 years, all of them. So this is something that we're really proud of, but what makes them stay? That in our business you could go to another market, make more money, and you'd be done. But it's not that pursuit of that higher income, that higher level of status that drives them. What drives people at KETV and what drives local journalists in general is the pursuit of your community, bettering your community, telling us stories that we don't know about, but we really should know about them, right? That's our responsibility. It drives us, it fuels us, it makes us feel good. I would also say the sales department is the exact same thing. They're pursuing this opportunity with all of their clients to make sure that we're affecting the economy and giving them great marketing campaigns. So I went on this little journey to figure out, make sure I'm right, make sure I know if I'm building a home, who am I building it for, and will that home inspire them? And during that process, Val McPherson had a group of people that he was bringing in from different countries, and he said, I have a bunch of journalists from all over the world, and I'd love to bring them to KETV just to talk to you guys so you guys can have a conversation with them and they can ask you some questions. So my news director, Roseanne Shannon, and I sat down with them in our old newsplex, and the plan was we were going to sit there and they were going to ask us a bunch of questions. That didn't happen. We asked them all the questions because it was fascinating. And what you realized is as much as I was on this pursuit of knowing my team, I also was trying to figure out what are we taking for granted? And if we take it for granted, what do we lose, right? So then this person, and I mean, it was from Afghanistan to China to Venezuela, all over the place. And this gentleman, I will never forget him. He was from the University of Venezuela. And he stands up and he says, we have this president. And for those of you who don't know, Venezuela, for freedom of press, on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the worst for freedom of press, they're at about 76. As of 2016. They say they have free press, but there are a bunch of laws that they have put in place after that say if you offend the government, if anything that you say is offensive to the government and could incite violence because of what is said, you could be fined or you can have your license taken away or everything. So for that reason, it's a very, very high level as far as not being freedom of press. So when some of these laws were enacted, it terrified people in Venezuela. It absolutely terrified them. They knew it was bad, but it got much worse. And they started to see things get much worse. There's several companies that are owned by the government that produce their media, but there's also a few that are free and independent. Those are fined regularly, and I'm talking millions of dollars, really trying to put them out of business in many cases. When these laws were enacted, this gentleman tells me that he was a professor for journalism, and the School of Journalism had a 500% increase in enrollment in Venezuela. And that's because we all know it's the most powerful thing, right? Our voice, right? So now we live in this world where we have these great feeds, right? These little social media feeds. And they tell us everything we think we want to know, right? They don't. They're sponsored, there's algorithms, there's all kinds of little computers that are telling you what you should know. So if you do not take that initiative and say, okay, I got to go out and find my information. I have to be the one who's in control of that. I have to know who my sources are, and I have to find the information. Guess what happens? You learn nothing, you don't grow, and in fact, you decline. Because you're only being fed information that you think you want to know or someone else thinks you want to know, right? So in this pursuit of trying to find your information, find everything that you need to know, and really for me, finding our new home, this notion to me became really evident, which is when you know something is right, even if it's uncomfortable, you need to do it. And really the most uncomfortable things are sometimes the things that bring us the most success. So I will tell you, it was not comfortable taking the Burlington train station and making it our home. We did not want to be known as the television station that tore down the Burlington by screwing something up. We knew that was right though, and we knew it was right for our home, so we pursued that. And in the same vein, I will tell you, when you are producing news, and I hear it all the time from, and I'm, disclaimer, I am not a journalist, I'm not at all. I am the witness of some really great work. But when you witness this work and you witness what they are doing, they are trying to put together stories every day that shape and connect us as a community. And whether you subscribe to our feed or not, you need to pursue that, because local journalism is the person that you're going to see in the grocery store. They're the ones that are affected, just like you, on every decision that is made here. And when they make those stories, they're sometimes uncomfortable. And just like the things you have to do that are uncomfortable, you have to pursue information that is uncomfortable for you to hear. You absolutely have to. If you don't, you will stop growing. One of the main reasons we try to make sure that we're putting all this information out, not only do we believe it's the right thing to do, we believe that people need to hear the information, and that's everything from views on politics that you don't like to something sad in our community that's happening. It's because you might actually be that person who's going to take that uncomfortable step forward and help make that change so that we do live in a community that we're proud of. Because if we don't know what's happening, we can't fix it. That's it.